Yes. Excellent. Yay. Okay. Here goes Cosmo. Welcome to Karma on Deck. I'm Karma. This is your Aries weekly reading for December 15th. Screaming Bard! Okay. We're going to get through this. If you have any idea what this morning looked like, I got me one crooked eyebrow. I got wet socks from spilling my coffee on my feet. I shaved one leg and didn't realize until I put lotion on that I was only halfway there. And I have felt like I have been chasing little activities all day. Tried to go live 3 times. So hello, eclipse, new moon, great conjunction, random stuff. There's a lot of that going on. So what's coming up for you guys as regards to past traumas and stuff? This stuff's been going deep. I don't know about you, but it's been heavy and fun and clearing shit left and right. So let's get to your reading, Aries, now that we finally made it to here. How are you? Speak to me, guys. What is going on with you? Even if you're not Aries, talk to me. I like seeing chat, so get at it. Okay, here we go. Aries, first thing that comes out, 6 of Wands. 6 of Wands has to do with a surplus of money and like maybe a payment or a gift or a bonus, things like that. I do see a lot coming up for Aries right now regarding work and career issues. 4 of Coins tells us you're looking for money. Now, that might be regarding like looking for a funder or a investment or literally looking for money to pay bills. I'm seeing you be a little bit more social than you had been. This is the victory card I was talking about. This has your little diamond at the bottom. So you're getting the goal. Hi, Christine. What's going on? I miss you. So this card has to do with victory. So when I talk about like a bonus or whatever, this is something that you've been put like that's in alignment, that's already in play, that's going to pop up for you. Like for me, 1 or 2 times, this was even like you know, the end of the year insurance where it doesn't need a payment. It's like, oh, you're all paid up, never mind, don't pay the $400 or 200 or whatever. So this is like a surplus. So it doesn't necessarily have to be money, but it's an ease. Okay. I see 4 of Cups. That has to do with you being more social and more public, going out and meeting people. Now that doesn't, with everything that's going on, it doesn't necessarily have to be literally going out. Okay, it could be being more social. Like I know for me, we have a little 3-way 4-way chat in the morning where my little tribe and I debrief or brief on what we're doing the day and chit chat, and it's really made things so much more connected, right? Interconnected. I'm seeing King of Coins. That takes leadership, right? Talks to you about like being in leadership. 2 of Coins has to do with a collaborations. I'm freezing, guys, sorry. I had to drink something hot. So I have the 2 of Coins. That references a job offer or a collaboration. So for those of you in business, which this feels a lot like business, like private business, Carrie Grant, this is for you. I am seeing the 6 of Swords, which means that whatever weight that you've been having on the back end with the Hermit card. So we have the Hermit right here. Okay, this has to do with like waiting. Like there's pauses in business, there's pauses in relationships, there's pauses in school, there's pauses in everything. And the Hermit has to do with like not just necessarily isolation, but it has to do with like those pauses too, kind of like the Hangman. I wouldn't be surprised if that pops up for you for some reason, but that wait is over because I feel like things are getting easier. Timing is hitting for you. So it's like finally like the right time. You can't take the cake out and frost it until it cools and it's all baked, right? So there's this moment where you're putting the frosting on and it's like, yes. So I'm seeing the High Priestess too for you. Your instincts are on point. There has been a problem with you, Aries, that has to do with intensity, drive, and indecision. You've also been putting up boundaries for others. That's the 5 of Swords. So the 5 of Swords indicates one of 2 things, depending on its placement. Just like the F word, it can be very profound at some times, and other times it's just like, what? So this card right here, the 5 of Swords, has to do with a fight, okay? But often it also means barriers or boundaries. This means crossed swords. So you don't have to like go all in. Think of fencing. What they do in the beginning of the session is they tap their swords together and discuss the little idea that we're going to meet in the middle at this moment, and this is the boundary. Ping, I have my weapons out. So sometimes it can be just like, hey, don't forget who you're dealing with, right? Doesn't have to be a fight. We don't have to go all out and bring the whole posse to get things done, but we can definitely let people know that we have our weapons, whatever they may be. That might be like, hey, you know, I have things to say on this subject. Do you really want to talk about it? Or it could be like, are you ready for this conversation? Be aware that it's going to happen. So I'm seeing the Two of Swords for you, which is the indecision. So there are like, you kind of have this sensation of moving forward, six of one, half dozen of the other, not sure which path, because you're not quite sure that you can win in either one. Now, reminds me of a game I played once upon a time. But this game has been coming up for me often, very, very much so lately, for any of you out there that have played the red black game. But I have this awareness lately about game playing. And this has to do with all the games. If it is not a win-win, if one must lose in order to accomplish a goal, then I'm not playing. And that's the trick, guys. A lot of people seem to think that, how do I navigate? And I always say this phrase, stop playing chess with your relationships, because once you recognize that you're making a play and making a move and then waiting for a response, then you're manipulating. And what the goal really is in relationships is to find them exactly where they're at. And if they're good for you, leave them in your life. If not, there should be no manipulation. We should have these rich and full, relationships. But what ends up happening with that, is once we start realizing that we're playing chess, or we're doing, think about this as in like, oh, shit, I'm coaching. So think about this as when you go into a situation and you realize that you have to be a certain way. Like, if you go to church, you have to be a certain way when you're in church. You wouldn't behave like you would in a club. And that's a totally different analogy. However, when you are forcing yourself into being a certain way around another individual, or manipulating a situation by saying certain things in certain ways to get the response that you want, it is all manipulation, and it is a game. Okay, because there's always a power exchange in that. Be wary. But anyways, Two of Swords has to do with indecision, and there is the Hangman. Damn, I'm good. Pay me. All right, so the Hangman has to do with delays. Remember I was talking about those pauses, and I said I wouldn't be surprised if your card popped up, and there it is. And a lot of us are getting these pauses. I personally am getting similar pauses, because it's like, I'm so ready to go, right? And then when you have this ready to go, and there's no movement, it gets super frustrating. And so you're like, all right, what now? But oftentimes we're not being asked to do anything. We as a culture, especially American culture, for those of you in the US, we have this sense of right now. And I'm in two phrases I've been talking about lately that have been coming up as my ahas is the win-win. If you cannot win this game, and if you're the winner and someone else is the loser, then you're manipulating. But if you are playing a game where you don't feel you can win, then it's a lose-lose situation, because ultimately everybody's robbing each other of the full benefit of what we have to offer. But here's what's true. If you aren't winning the game, and if it's not win-win, don't play. And the other thing I was talking about was, like, stop messing with the pauses. Like, if the life gives you the sun goes down, it's time for sleep. I know I'm a night owl, but in the same token, it's like there's phases for everything. And so, people want to call me up and ask for a love spell. And I'm like, what are you even doing? Right? Like, don't do that. First of all, free will. Yes, I can. No, I won't. But the thing is, like, we can't microwave our lives, guys. It is imperative that you do the work. So in this, you have the Hangman, which is wait. And then right after that, we have the Death card. So if you can breathe through the pauses, there's big and beautiful change on the other side. And that's exciting, because I saw it before I laid the cards out. It's so much fun to see this happen in front of me. So I do have the Hierophant, which is, my mind is kind of blown. So the Hierophant literally has to do with pulling strings. And I've used this analogy a lot, so forgive me, guys, for repeating, but this is how this plays for me. So you have this card, which is the Hierophant. Now the Hierophant, think Roman Catholic Church, the Roman Catholics, and the Romans and the Catholics created like this dynasty that had, it was run by what the church had to say, how you should do things and what you should do. And there was all these consultations going on, and manipulations and Machiavellian shit. And so with all of that, everybody felt like a little puppet, right? And so you can see here, we have this little Pope guy, and it's religion. Truly, the Hierophant has to do with religion, but it also has to do with knowledge, because you have all these secrets back here. I know I digress, but you'll be all right. So I have like different symbols of religion, and this usually, the Hierophant has to do with education. It has to do with stubbornness. It has to do with pride. It has to do with knowledge too, and knowing things. God, I'm talking too much. So you know things. However, it also sometimes feels about like, how am I being pulled? What's driving me? And what direction are these things taking? And I do see ultimately you have both of my cards, my minor and my major for new beginnings, which is the Page of Cups. So this is beautiful. It's all designed for you to have, you know, one of my, I hated phrases. I hated using catchphrases and industry phrases. And a lot of psychics like to say it's for your greater good and nobody wants platitudes, right? However, this is beautiful for you. So breathe, meditate, soak it up. I'm going to shuffle for your Aries moon. Yes, I said that. I'm just teasing you guys. All right. So hi, Bitsy. Hello, Nick. So I've got the cards out for your Aries moon, and I will shuffle one more time. Please book your one-on-one karmaondeck.com. Schedule's getting busy, so it's not working anymore to just text me and go, do you have any time? Because the amount of time that I spend texting you, you could go to the website. It's super easy, and I'll miss your texts, and it's been like that lately for those of you that have been texting me and I'm not answering. It's like because I've got my hands full. All right, so here we go, Aries. Three of Cups, you're thinking about celebration and fun. Again, we have the Nine of Swords, Two of Cups, Page of Swords. For those of you on my other social media, please jump over to my YouTube so you can see the picture-in-picture. I would really appreciate you subscribing, and supporting me on there. We do have some goals for the YouTube. We've got some podcasts coming up. I don't know how that's going to work because we can get a little edgy if Facebook's going to kick me off or what, but all right. So we have the Three of Cups, which is celebration. Also, I'm seeing a little insomnia for you and worry. The Two of Swords again. So you do have some congruency between your general spread and this one. What I'm seeing for you, Aries, is that Hierophant card has two sides, okay? And the cards that are coming up in your Aries moon, or how you're feeling and what you're doing with your relationships, is we do have the Two of Cups, and you can see this in the spread. I don't want to move them, but there's a lot of love, overwhelm, emotions. You've got a honeymoon phase coming, and whether that's with a new person or the one you're with is exciting. But ultimately, you don't want things to change. You do have the Lovers card, which means that there's this beautiful, intense energy going on for you. We have the Balance card, which is temperance, but I also see the Seven of Wands and the Queen of Swords next to the Two of Swords, and how that says its energy is being defensive, speaking to what you want. Indecision is going to be shifted through King of Swords, which is making a decision. So there's like, you've got to take leadership in these things, which you're good at, but I do feel like you're a little overwhelmed in making one more decision. So I have a lot of love cups for you, and these are beautiful. You guys have the Three of Cups, celebration. You know, who is calling me? No. No. Well, we just lost the I can't believe that we just lost. Somebody called me. Sorry, guys. We just lost your reading. So come on, YouTube. Anyways, so I'm seeing that you have the Seven of Wands, which is defensive. Queen of Swords, which has to do with you being like a little bit harsh with your words, or speaking to what it is you want for yourself. But this indecision is going to be broken by the King of Swords, because you do know how to behave in leadership. And here's the other thing too, is you're avoiding change in relationships and how you're thinking, because ultimately you want the Eight of Pentacles to drive things for you. You want the Eight of Pentacles to give you, like, you want consistency and patterns, and that's what you're going to have to decide, that that's what you want, because ultimately things aren't going to move without that decision coming from you. Now let's pull a card for you from the Divination of the Ancients. I will tell you the one card that pops up on the end of that reading for your Aries moon was the High Priestess. And the High Priestess has to do with instincts. It also has to do with secrets and knowledge. And here's what it's telling you is the High Priestess is saying, yo, trust yourself, trust your instincts, that like you have more power, knowledge, understanding, and competency than you're giving yourself credit for. And so ultimately the High Priestess is telling you to trust what you know. Let's pull a card for you from Divination of the Ancients. Like, share, subscribe, and hang out with me more often over here on YouTube. Thank you guys. Abundance! Woo! Shit! So you guys have the Abundance card. So this is the coins. So all the things that you're doing right now are lining you up for money. So abundance is on the rise. Breathe in the pauses. Don't poke at things. Like, you keep opening the oven and that cake is going to fall. All right, like I always say, love and light, guys. I'm going to pop on right here after this and do Taurus. I love you guys. Catch you on the flip side.